A millionaire joined his father's company as an intern and uncovered shocking truths. The rain streaked against the towering glass windows of Carter Enterprises as Alex Carter stood in his late father's office. For decades, this room had been a fortress of vision and innovation, ruled by the legendary Richard Carter. But 6 months after Richard's sudden death, the room felt cold, a shadow of the empire it once commanded. Alex had inherited not just the company but a legacy, one he felt he was failing. Whispers of unrest among employees, mounting rumors of ethical breaches, and the unnerving financial discrepancies buried deep in reports haunted him. As he stood there, staring out at the city his father had helped shape, Alex resolved to uncover the truth. That night, Alex shared his concerns with his childhood friend and confidant, Daniel Harper. "Something's wrong, Dan," Alex said, pacing his penthouse. "The numbers are too clean, no legitimate company this size operates without some margin of chaos." Daniel leaned forward, sipping his drink. "Then find the dirt, but not as Alex Carter, the heir. You need to see this company through the eyes of the people who work for it." The idea stuck. Alex spent the following week crafting a new identity. Sam Blake, a modest admin assistant hired to support the finance team. His suits were replaced with thrift store shirts, his name stripped from any association with Carter Enterprises. He dyed his hair, adopted a quieter demeanor, and practiced a softer accent. On a crisp Monday morning, Alex, now Sam, entered the sleek headquarters. The receptionist barely looked up as she handed him a visitor badge. "You're the new temp, right?" she said flatly. "Third floor finance. Don't be late." Sam's first days were mundane. Barbara Collins, the HR director, dismissed him with a wave. His boss, Helen Cross, the CFO, barely acknowledged his presence. Most of his tasks involved filing reports, fetching coffee, and scheduling meetings for the finance team. But it was in this sea of monotony that Sam began noticing patterns. There were frequent mentions of Project Zenith in emails and whispered conversations. Employees avoided discussing it openly, their unease palpable. When Sam overheard a hushed argument between two senior accountants, his curiosity deepened. "It's too risky," one whispered. "If it's audited, it won't be," the other snapped. "Just follow the instructions." Late one evening, while organizing files, Sam found a folder marked "Confidential." Inside were transaction records showing massive transfers to obscure accounts in countries notorious for tax evasion. The amounts were staggering, but what struck Sam most was the pattern. These payments correlated with layoffs across departments. His chest tightened as he pieced it together. The company wasn't just mishandling funds, it was orchestrating layoffs to create fake losses on paper. This, in turn, justified funneling millions into offshore accounts under the guise of reinvestment. Sam photographed the documents and tucked them back, his mind racing. In the following weeks, Sam began to earn the trust of some colleagues, while others remained wary. He befriended Sophie, a junior accountant who expressed frustration over invisible barriers in the department. "I've tried raising concerns," Sophie confided during a coffee break, "but Helen shuts it down. She's untouchable." Sophie mentioned a particularly suspicious meeting that had been held after hours in the executive boardroom. "It wasn't on the schedule and I saw some unfamiliar faces coming in, lawyers maybe?" Sam decided to investigate further. That evening he stayed late, slipping into the empty boardroom. A digital recorder had been left behind on the table, presumably forgotten. He pressed play, his heart pounding as voices filled the room. "Once Zenith is fully operational," a man's voice said, "we'll have complete control of the patents. By the time anyone questions it, Carter Enterprises will be a shell." Another voice responded, "Just make sure those whistleblowers stay silent. If the board finds out, it's over." Sam copied the recording to his phone and returned the device to its place. The weight of what he'd uncovered was suffocating. The layoffs weren't just a financial maneuver, they targeted employees who had raised concerns about Zenith. Among them were engineers from the company's groundbreaking renewable energy division, a project his father had championed. The engineers' work had been quietly buried, and their technology patents were sold to rival firms for fractions of their value. One evening, Sam confronted Charlie, the janitor who had been with the company for decades. "You've seen things, haven't you?" Sam asked. Charlie hesitated before speaking. "Your father built this place to change the world, but now it's a playground for predators. Those patents, they were worth billions. Helen and her cronies sold them out to fill their own pockets." Sam's stomach churned. His father's vision of clean energy had been gutted, its ashes turned into wealth for a select few. Sam needed allies. He reached out to Anna Vega, an outspoken legal intern who had recently quit, citing irreconcilable ethical concerns. I knew something was wrong when Helen shut down the whistleblower program, Anna revealed during a late-night meeting. I saw emails about Project Zenith. It's a cover-up for selling out every value this company stood for. Together, they uncovered more evidence. Emails outlining kickbacks to board members, payouts to government officials for ignoring environmental violations, and contracts with rival firms to dismantle Carter Enterprises' competitive edge. Sam realized Helen and her accomplices were preparing for a hostile takeover. They planned to devalue Carter Enterprises by publicly exposing its financial instability, then sell the remaining assets to a shadow corporation Helen secretly controlled. The betrayal ran deeper than Sam could have imagined. "Everything my father built," Sam whispered to Daniel one evening, "they're tearing it apart." At the next board meeting, Sam arrived unannounced. Dressed in his old tailored suit, he strode into the room, his confidence unshaken. "Good morning," he began, his voice cutting through the murmurs. "Before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Alex Carter and I have some things to share." Helen's face went pale as Alex connected his laptop to the projector. Transaction records, email chains, and recorded conversations lit up the screen. "This is Project Zenith," Alex declared. "A plan to get this company from the inside. These records show the offshore accounts, the stolen patents, the bribes. And here," he pointed to a highlighted email, "is proof of Helen's direct involvement." Helen shot up from her seat, her voice trembling with forced composure. "This is a baseless accusation. You can't waltz in here and slander my name without repercussions." Alex's expression hardened. "This isn't slander, it's fact. And the authorities will be here shortly to review everything." He clicked to the next slide, revealing the kickback contracts and offshore account transfers. Gasps filled the room as the board members shifted uncomfortably, some exchanging panicked glances. One of the senior board members, a man named Gregory Lang, cleared his throat. "Helen, is there any truth to this?" he asked, his tone betraying his growing alarm. Before Helen could answer, the doors to the boardroom swung open. Federal agents entered, led by Detective Ramirez, who Alex had contacted the night before. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ramirez announced, "we have a warrant to seize documents and electronic devices pertaining to Carter Enterprises operations. This room is now under investigation." Chaos erupted. Helen lunged toward Alex, her veneer of professionalism completely shattered. "You arrogant brat. You don't understand what you're doing." Security intervened, pulling her back as Ramirez ordered her to be escorted out. "Miss Cross," Ramirez said firmly, "you are under arrest for conspiracy, embezzlement, and fraud. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." As Helen was dragged away, she hissed, "You've made powerful enemies, Alex. This isn't over." Alex stood still, her words echoing ominously in his mind. The fallout from the meeting was swift and unforgiving. Several other executives implicated in Project Zenith were taken into custody that day. The media frenzy that followed painted Alex as both a hero and a controversial figure. While many applauded his courage, others questioned his company's future. The board faced immense public pressure to rebuild trust, and Alex was thrust into the spotlight as the company's new leader. But the battle was far from over. As Alex combed through the documents Helen and her accomplices had tried to hide, he discovered another layer to the conspiracy. Buried among routine contracts was a peculiar deal involving a shell corporation with ties to powerful political figures. These connections hinted at a larger network of corruption that extended beyond Carter Enterprises. The implications were staggering. Helen and her team weren't just lining their pockets, they were part of a much larger scheme to manipulate markets and influence policies for private gain. Alex shared his findings with Anna and Daniel. "This isn't just about Carter Enterprises anymore," he said grimly. "If we don't act, this network will continue exploiting companies and people." Anna nodded. "We'll need allies. If this goes public, they'll come after us harder than ever." The trio worked tirelessly, contacting investigative journalists, whistleblower organizations, and federal prosecutors. They uncovered connections between rival corporations, government officials, and international entities, all linked by shadowy transactions and hidden agendas. Their findings culminated in a high-stakes press conference where Alex laid out the web of corruption for the world to see. "Today," Alex declared, "we're not just fighting for Carter Enterprises. We're fighting for every employee, every family, and every future affected by greed and corruption. This ends now." The revelations rocked the corporate and political worlds, leading to multiple resignations, arrests, and policy overhauls. Alex's decision to go public came at a cost. His company faced relentless scrutiny, and his personal life was under constant media attention. But the tide was turning. Employees who had once feared for their jobs now rallied around Alex, inspired by his determination to uphold his father's legacy. Months later, as Alex stood in the newly renovated Carter Enterprises headquarters, he felt a sense of accomplishment tempered by the weight of responsibility. The company was no longer just a business, it was a symbol of resilience and integrity. He had rebuilt it not just in his father's image but in his own. Looking out at the city, Alex thought of the journey that had brought him here. He'd faced betrayal, uncovered shocking truths, and risked everything to do what was right. Yet, as daunting as the future seemed, he knew one thing for certain: real power didn't come from wealth or influence. It came from the courage to stand up for what mattered most, no matter the cost. As Alex stood in the tranquil silence of his office, the weight of the past few months bore heavily on him. The city skyline stretched endlessly before him, bathed in the golden hues of a setting sun. It was a view his father had admired countless times, a view that had always inspired dreams of growth and integrity. Yet now it was a reminder of the battles fought and the ones still to come. Anna entered quietly, carrying a folder. "You might want to see this," she said, placing it on his desk. Her voice was steady, but there was an edge of urgency that Alex didn't miss. Opening the folder, Alex's eyes scanned the contents. A dossier from a trusted journalist who had been investigating further leads. It detailed anonymous threats, subtle market manipulations, and whispers of retaliation from those whose secrets had been exposed. The remaining pieces of the larger network hadn't been dismantled. They were regrouping, and their influence ran deeper than anticipated. "This isn't over, is it?" Alex asked, his voice low. Anna shook her head. "Not even close. But we've exposed a lot. People are paying attention now. That's a start." "Not enough," Alex said firmly. "If we let up, they'll regain control and everything we've done will mean nothing." Daniel joined them, stepping into the room with his usual calm demeanor but a resolute expression. "There's talk of hearings in Washington. Some senators are calling for an overhaul of corporate oversight laws. They want you to testify." Alex sighed, rubbing his temples. The thought of stepping into the political arena was daunting, but he knew it was necessary. "They'll try to discredit me. Drag Carter Enterprises through the mud." "Maybe," Anna said, "but if we keep the pressure on, we might finally get the accountability this industry desperately needs." For the next few weeks, Alex prepared meticulously. Every document, every testimony, every piece of evidence was scrutinized and organized. He spent long nights with Anna and Daniel, strategizing not just for the hearings but for the future of Carter Enterprises. The company's new mission wasn't just to succeed, it was to lead by example, proving that ethical leadership wasn't a weakness but a strength. The day of the hearing arrived. The Grand Hall of Congress buzzed with anticipation, packed with media, lobbyists, and officials. Alex took his seat at the witness table, his heart pounding but his resolve unwavering. The questioning was relentless. Skeptical senators probed his motives, rival executives attempted to deflect blame, and hired consultants subtly questioned his credibility. But Alex stayed composed, presenting irrefutable evidence and sharing the human impact of the corruption his company had uncovered. He spoke not just as a CEO but as a son, an employee, and a citizen determined to make a difference. By the end of the day, Alex had shifted the narrative. Headlines described him as a trailblazer, a new kind of leader willing to challenge a broken system. Public support for Carter Enterprises soared, and the hearings sparked widespread demand for reform. Back in the office, Alex gathered his team. "We've won a battle," he said, "but the war for accountability and fairness isn't over. It's our responsibility to keep pushing forward." Anna smiled. "And we will. Together." Months turned into years, and the culture Alex fostered at Carter Enterprises became a model for others. The company thrived, not just financially but as a beacon of integrity. Employees felt valued, partnerships were built on trust, and the public saw a corporation willing to prioritize people over profits. As Alex looked out from the stage at a company-wide gathering, he addressed the crowd with gratitude and determination. "This company is more than just a legacy. It's a promise to my father, to each of you, and to the future. We've shown the world that doing the right thing is the foundation of true success. And we're just getting started." The applause was thunderous, but Alex's mind wandered back to the beginning of his journey. He thought of the secrets uncovered, the risks taken, and the lessons learned. Through it all, one truth stood out. Real power wasn't in avoiding challenges but in confronting them with integrity and courage. The road ahead would always be challenging, but for the first time he faced it not with fear but with hope. Alex stood at the balcony of his penthouse, overlooking the city skyline, a faint smile playing on his lips. He realized that true power wasn't in wealth or titles, it was in the courage to confront wrongs and the determination to make them right. Thank you for listening this far. If you enjoyed my story, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support means so much to me. See you in the next story.